Hello, this is Ben Television News Roundup, a compilation of major stories in the weekend. I'm Tunde Alabi. Thank you for being part of the program today. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson has apologized for his comments over a British detainee in Iran. Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, Mr. Johnson, who was questioned in the House of Commons, noted that he could have been clearer on his comments, which have attracted criticism. Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe was detained in 2016 while she was visiting Iran.
Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe was arrested at Tehran airport in April 2016 as she tried to return home to Britain after visiting her parents. Iranian authorities have never revealed the exact charges, but jailed her for 5 years, purportedly on grounds of national security. British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson told a parliamentary committee last week that Zaghari-Ratcliffe had been in the country teaching people journalism. Her employers say that is utterly false and fear Iran will use Johnson's words to justify extending her sentence.
We have not seen any progress in Nazanin's situation, and the situation is that now they want to double her sentence. This is unimaginable that she would do 10 years without being a culprit of anything.
The website of the Iranian judiciary published an article Monday quoting the British Foreign Secretary, saying his statement has shed new light on the realities about Nazanin. Boris Johnson told his Iranian counterpart on the phone Tuesday that his remarks could form no justifiable basis for further action in this case. Johnson plans to travel to Tehran in the coming weeks. The incident sparked a heated exchange in Parliament Tuesday as Johnson faced opposition calls for him to resign.
How about the Foreign Secretary himself shows a bit of personal responsibility and admits that a job like this, where your words hold gravity and your actions have consequences, it is simply not the job for him.
Yeah. Foreign Secretary.
She can choose to heap blame onto the British Foreign Office that is trying to secure the release of Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, and in so doing, she deflects blame, she deflects accountability from those who are truly responsible, holding that mother in jail, and that is the Iranian regime.
Zaghari-Ratcliffe was separated from her 2-year-old daughter, now being cared for by grandparents, and is still only able to see the child for strictly limited periods. She has been held in solitary confinement, and her health is reported to be deteriorating. Despite the setbacks, her family and supporters say they still have hope that she will be released before Christmas.
U.S. President Donald Trump has warned North Korea not to take U.S.'s restraint from military action against the regime in the past years as a sign of weakness. The U.S. president warned that North Korea leader Kim Jong-un not to underestimate America and its resolve to defend its common security.
Workers in North Korea labor grueling hours in unbearable conditions for almost no pay. Recently, the entire working population was ordered to work for 70 days straight, or else pay for a day of rest. Families live in homes without plumbing, and fewer than half have electricity. Parents bribe teachers in hopes of saving their sons and daughters from forced labor. More than 1 million North Koreans died of famine in the 1990s, and more continue to die of hunger today. Among children under the age of 5, nearly 30% of afflicted and are afflicted by stunted growth due to malnutrition. And yet, in 2012 and 2013, the regime spent an estimated $200 million, or almost half the money that it allocated to improve living standards for its people, to instead build even more monuments, towers, and statues to glorify its dictators. What remains of the meager harvest of the North Korean economy is distributed according to perceived loyalty to a twisted regime. Far from valuing its people as equal citizens, this cruel dictatorship measures them, scores them, and ranks them based on the most arbitrary indications of their allegiance to the state. Those who score the highest in loyalty may live in the capital city. Those who score the lowest starve. A small infraction by one citizen, such as accidentally staining a picture of the tyrant printed in a discarded newspaper, can wreck the social credit rank of his entire family for many decades. An estimated 100,000 North Koreans suffer in gulags, toiling in forced labor, and enduring torture, starvation, rape, and murder on a constant basis. In one known instance, a 9-year-old boy was imprisoned for 10 years because his grandfather was accused of treason. In another, a student was beaten in school for forgetting a single detail about the life of Kim Jong-un. Soldiers have kidnapped foreigners and forced them to work as language tutors for North Korean spies. In the part of Korea that was a stronghold for Christianity before the war, Christians and other people of faith who were found praying or holding a religious book of any kind are now detained, tortured, and in many cases, even executed. Has interpreted America's past restraint as weakness. This would be a fatal miscalculation. This is a very different administration than the United States has had in the past. Today, I hope I speak not only for our countries, but for all civilized nations when I say to the North, do not underestimate us and do not try us. We will defend our common security, our shared prosperity, and our sacred liberty.
President Trump, he has also reiterated America's readiness for military action against the North Korea government. He announced the presence of military personnel stationed in and around South Korea.
Currently stationed in the vicinity of this peninsula are the 3 largest aircraft carriers in the world, loaded to the maximum with magnificent F-35 and F-18 fighter jets. In addition, we have nuclear submarines appropriately positioned. The United States, under my administration, is completely rebuilding its military and is spending hundreds of billions of dollars to the newest and finest military equipment anywhere in the world being built right now. I want peace through strength. We are helping the Republic of Korea far beyond what any other country has ever done. And in the end, we will work things out far better than anybody understands or can even appreciate. I know that the Republic of Korea, which has become a tremendously successful nation, will be a faithful ally of the United States very long into the future.
The Republicans have suffered a huge defeat in new political setback when the party lost Virginia and New Jersey governorship races to the Democrats. The results have major implications for both parties as they prepare for midterm congressional elections in 2018.
In New Jersey, Governor-elect Phil Murphy, a Democrat, saw his election as a direct rebuke of President Donald Trump.
Tonight, New Jersey sent an unmistakable message to the entire nation. We are better than this.
In Virginia, Democrat Ralph Northam defeated Republican Ed Gillespie in a campaign that often focused on Trump and his policies, especially on immigration. Northam says Virginians were sending a message.
The divisiveness, the hatred, the bigotry, the politics that is tearing this country apart that's not the United States of America that people love. It's certainly not the Commonwealth of Virginia that they love.
Democratic enthusiasm and a focus on Trump were on display in both states, says analyst Steve Peoples.
We've heard for months and months about all this energy on the left. It hadn't materialized until tonight. Big night for Democrats, and really it was a repudiation of sorts of the Trump nationalist message.
During his trip to Asia, President Trump tweeted that Gillespie lost in Virginia because he did not embrace Trump closely enough during the campaign. Exit polls from both states found Trump was a motivating factor for many Democratic voters, and that could spell trouble for Republicans in next year's midterm congressional elections, says expert Richard Harris.
Well, I think the danger signs are that it looks like Democratic voters are energized and it's easy to mobilize them. And turnout is, particularly in swing states, is going to favor Democrats.
The Democratic wins in Virginia and New Jersey are likely to put greater pressure on congressional Republicans to pass tax reform, so they have something to show voters next year, says Harris.
The pressure on them was probably about a 9.5 on a 10-point scale, and now it's probably 9.9. So it was high already, and it's just going to get more intense.
The election results dominated the one-year anniversary of Donald Trump's election. Tuesday's Democratic victories could signal a shift in the political fortunes of a president whose public approval rating has remained near or below 40% for much of his presidency, a historic low for a new president.
A documentary on Boko Haram's war in Nigeria and impacts has been scheduled to play on Ben TV. The film documents how Boko Haram fought relentless war against Nigeria, killed thousands and made millions homeless, and destroyed the economy of northeastern Nigeria.
At the premiere of Voice of America's documentary Boko Haram Journey from Evil at the United States Institute of Peace, producers and participants explained why this is a story the world needs to see.
Why did we make this film? What was the reason that we made this? And it's because we want people like you to be here, to be talking about the situation, to understand the situation, to get involved.
It all started when VOA journalist Ibrahim Ahmed obtained 18 hours of Boko Haram footage that was later authenticated and turned into a series of VOA reports.
They shot the videos for their own propaganda purpose, but most of the videos we saw were videos that Boko Haram never intended for the public to see.
Footage in the film shows how the group brutalized its own fellow Muslims, beating and killing them at will to maintain control. The videos also show some of the group's younger members behaving like kids do everywhere. Featured in the film is Buki Shonibare, founding member of the Bring Back Our Girls movement. She saw the completed film for the first time at the screening and says it broke her heart.
There is no amount of money that would take away what children have seen. Children will watch their parents killed. There is no amount of money we spend that would tell that woman who watched her husband being killed that would just go away.
But the film also captures the resilience of the people who remained, says photographer Fatih Abubakar, who was featured in the documentary as well.
I was in medical college at the time Boko Haram was wreaking havoc in the community. The leader, Mohammed Yusuf, had just, was preaching 3 minutes from my house, and we were able to see all of those things unfold right in front of us. I mean, if I'm sitting here talking as openly as I am about these things, I think people are able to rebuild.
With her photographs, Abubakar wants to show that while the conflict with Boko Haram portrays northeastern Nigeria as a dangerous place, there are still people leading their lives there. And while most dream of reuniting with family members who have been kidnapped, people like Shonibare will never stop until the last girls from Chibok or the 100 others from elsewhere are returned home.
And with this report on Boko Haram, we conclude the news report for this week. Thank you for being part of the program. I'm Tunde Alabi. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.
As part of our continued efforts to reach the African and other ethnic communities in the United Kingdom with greater impacts and create the platform to hear your silent and unheard views in this hugely growing community in the United Kingdom, our channel, Ben TV, presents to you another live current affairs television program. Our focus on the program is to review and discuss issues around the diaspora community in the UK. The program offers you that unrestricted voice on issues affecting you in the UK. Join us live every Monday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Another business segment of Dialogue in Diaspora, 2 to 3 p.m. every Monday. But guess what? You know you can be part of the program. Just send us an email at bentelevisionuk@gmail.com. Dialogue in Diaspora, the voice, your opinion on our TV.